all the earth a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God and we'll all sing along. All the earth a new song unto God. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai shir kadash. I will sing a new song unto God.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. I'm Rabbi Susan Abramson, coming to you from the sanctuary of Temple Shalom Emeth in Burlington, Massachusetts. And there's so much happening this week. First of all, we see the beautiful leaves of fall, which are starting to be more on the ground than in the trees. We're expecting maybe our first little bit of snow. The trees are starting to be more bare. We're changing the seasons as we speak. It's a time of tremendous anxiety and fear and turmoil in our country with the upcoming election next week. And also, of course, the pandemic, which so many are suffering from. I don't know of anybody who doesn't know somebody who's either suffered with the disease or knows somebody who has died from the disease. So that's happening right as we speak. Also, we have this week's Torah portion, which is called Lech Lecha, which is the Torah portion where Abram first leaves his father's house and starts out on his journey to find his own destiny and how he walks with God. And so all of these things are conjoining together to form a Shabbat full of transition and on the unknown future. I want it to be a Shabbat of peace and reflection and healing. And so we're going to have a few more songs than we usually do for this Shabbat. We're going to be song heavy this Shabbat so that we can maybe unwind, relax, and be able to gain some perspective on our lives. So we're going to continue with Adonai Oz Le'amo Yitain, Adonai Varech et Amo. May God bless the people of Israel, and may God give us strength.
Adonai Oz Le'amo Yitain, Adonai Oz Le'amo Yitain, Adonai Oz Le'amo Yitain, Adonai Yivarech et Amo, Adonai Yivarech et Amo, Vashalom, Adonai Yivarech et Amo, Vashalom, Vashalom, Adonai Oz Le'amo Yitain, Adonai Oz Le'amo Yitain, Adonai Oz Le'amo Yitain, Adonai Yivarech et Amo, Adonai Yivarech et Amo.
We continue with yet another song called Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, with the hope that peace will come to us ultimately in our time.
Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, V'al Kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, V'al Kulam. Salam Aleinu v'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam, salam Aleinu v'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Od Yavo yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, ve'al kulam. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam, salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam.
We now continue with the singing of Lecha Dodi, Welcoming the Sabbath Bride, on page 138.
Lecha Dodi, Lekrat Kala, Penei Shabbat, Nikabela. Dodi, Lekrat Kala, Penei Shabbat Nikabela. Shamor v'zachor v'dibur echad, Ishmianu el hamyuchad. Adonai echad, U'shemo Belit Hila. Lecha Dodi, Lekrat Kala, Penei Shabbat Nikabela. Lecha Dodi, Lekrat Kala, Penei Shabbat Nikabela. Hitoruri, Kiva Ore, Kumi Ori, Uri, Shirda Behiri, Kebod Adonai Alayi Nigla. Lecha Dodi, Lekrat Kala, Penei Shabbat Nikabela. Lecha Dodi, Lekrat Kala, Penei Shabbat Nikabela. Hoi v'shalom, Ateret ba'ala, Gam b'simcha, Utzahola. Toch emune, am segula, boi chala, lecha dodi, lekrat kala, penei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha dodi, lekrat kala,
I would like to invite Ellen Finkelman to lead us in the lighting of the Shabbat candles this evening, which you may find on page 120 of your prayer books.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our day be among those who kindle light. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with the mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat. Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Amen, 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 amen.
Please rise if you are able for the Baruch Hu, our call to worship on page 146. Praise Adonai, to whom praise is due forever. Praise be Adonai, to whom praise is due, now and forever.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamavorach. Baruch Adonai hamavorach leolam va'ed.
Page 150.
Ahavat olam bit Yisrael Amcha ahavta Amcha ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu lemadeta Al ken Adonai Eloheinu bishakfenu uvkumenu nasiach bechukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratcha ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד, כי הם חיינו באורך ימינו, ובהם נגה יומם ולילה, נגה יומם ולילה. אהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל. אוהב עמו ישראל.
We now continue with the Shema, the watchword of our Jewish faith, talking about the oneness of God and how we have to hear ourselves, hear God, hear our values, on page 152 and 153.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem, Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed.
Please be seated. We now continue with the V'ahavta on page 154.
V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, v'kol levavcha, uv'kol nafshecha, uv'kol me'odecha, v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele, asher anochi mitzavcha, hayom al levavecha, v'shinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha b'veitecha, uv'lechtecha v'derech, uv'shachpecha uv'kumecha, uv'kshartam le'od al yadecha, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
We now continue with the singing of Mi Chamocha, the song the Israelites sang when they crossed the Red Sea to freedom from Pharaoh's grip, on page 158.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש. נורא תהילות אוסף פלא, נורא תהילות אוסף פלא, אדוני לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים. זה אלי אנו ויאמרו, זה אלי אנו ויאמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
We now continue with the Hashkivenu prayer on page 160. The Hashkivenu prayer is really an important one for us this week. It talks about how God will shelter us with God's compassion and with God's peace, and how we live underneath God's umbrella. And so we think about how God is around us, supporting us, and helping us deal with whatever issues we face in our lives at this moment.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, לשלום, והעמידנו שמרנו לחיים. ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right.
Continue with the singing of Vishamru. The people of Israel shall keep Shabbat, observing Shabbat throughout the generations as a covenant for all time, on page 162.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam b'rit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam b'rit olam. B'ni uvein B'nei Yisrael, ori le'olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam b'rit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam b'rit olam. Uvayom hashvi'i shavat vayinafash, shavat vayinafash. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam b'rit olam.
We now rise, if we are able, for the next section of our service called the Tefillah on page 164.
Anananananana Adonai, Ananananana Svatai Tivta, Ananananana Ufi Agid Tehilatecha, Ananananana Adonai, Ananananana Svatai Tivta, Ananananana Ufi Agid Tehilatecha, Ananananana Adonai, Ananananana Svatai Tivta, Ananananana Ufi Agid Tehilatecha, Ananananana Adonai, Ananananana Svatai Tivta, Ananananana Ufi Agid Tehilatecha, Ananananana Adonai, Ananananana Svatai Tivta, Ananananana Ufi Agid Tehilatecha. Page 166. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu ve'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'Kanei Hakol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'Mevi Geula Livnei V'Nehem, L'Ma'an Shemo B'Ahava, Melech Ozer, U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Page 168. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechaye hakol Atah Rav lehoshia. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. Page 170. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Please be seated. We continue with the singing of Shalom Rav, a song for peace, on page 178.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov be'enecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם.
Continue on page 371 with the Misha Beirach Get Well prayer. May the one who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal those who are ill. This evening we think in particular of Carolyn Eisenstein, Gina Rippin, Eliza Major, Anna Singer, Carol Granger. We also think of everybody in our country who is currently suffering from the COVID virus, those who have other medical issues, all of us who are suffering from stress and anxiety about the situation in our country right now and where we are headed. And at this time, if there are names of others in particular who you'd like to think of in your heart or in your mind, you may either say their names in your heart or out loud at this moment. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion for all of our health to be restored and all of our strength to be revived. May God swiftly send all of us a complete renewal of body and spirit. And let us say together, Amen. We now continue with a special version of the Misha Beirach Get Well prayer.
Misha Beirach Avoteinu Avraham, Yitzchak v'Yaakov. Misha Beirach Imoteinu, Sarah, Rivka, Leah, v'Rachel. May the one who blessed our mothers, may the one who blessed our fathers, hear our prayer, hear our prayer. Hear our prayer. Bless Bless us with the power of your healing. Bless us with the power of your hope. May our hearts be filled with understanding and strengthened by the power of your love. Mi sheberach avoteinu, Avraham, Yitzchak v'Yaakov. Mi sheberach imoteinu, Sarah, Rivka, Leah, v'Rachel. Bless us with a vision for tomorrow. Help us to reach out to those in pain. May the warmth of friendship ease our sorrow. Give us courage, give us faith, show us the way. Mi sheberach avoteinu, mi sheberach imoteinu. Hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well.
We pause for a moment of silent prayer.
Please turn back in your prayer books to page 180 and join me in the singing of Oseh Shalom at the bottom of the page. Oseh Shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh Shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh Shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh Shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
We now turn to page 586 for one of the concluding sections of our service called the Aleinu, which is a hope that the world will be brought together and united under God's values. Please rise.
Aleinu lishabeach la'adon hakol, latet gedula liyotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kigoyei ha'aratzot, velo samanu kemishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'goralenu kichol hamonam, va'anachnu korim, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ ומשה יקרו בשמיים ממעל ושכינתו זו בגבהי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, כך כתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל va'aretz, va'aretz, mitachat, ein od, ein od.
And we now continue on page 591 with the singing of Bayom Hahu. On that day, God will be one and God's name shall be one. And it's a very special version this week, which talks more about how we hope that in the future, in the not too distant future, we will all come together and live in peace.
Though the time be far, I know that come it will, when each nation shall each other bless, peace the earth shall fill. God shall reign over the earth on that day, God shall be one, and your name it shall be one. Bayom Hahu, yeah, Adonai Echad Shmo Echad. Bayom Hahu, yeah, Adonai Echad. And on that dawn of peace we'll smash the fear of war, and everyone beneath their vine and faith will be afraid no more. God shall reign over the earth on that day, God shall be one, and your name it shall be one. Bayom Hahu, yeah, Adonai Echad Shmo Echad. Bayom Hahu, yeah, Adonai Echad. And it shall come to pass that peace is what we'll find, and then we'll join our hands with everyone across the borderline. God shall reign over the earth on that day, God shall be one, and your name it shall be one. Bayom Hahu, yeah, Adonai Echad Shmo Echad. Bayom Hahu, yeah, Adonai Echad.
The introduction to the Kaddish prayer may be found on page 599. We think now of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at the season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. We recall Judah Rubin, who died during this past week, and we send our condolences out to Dan Rubin and his family on the loss of his father. And we add to his name the names of those whose yahrzeits occur this week: Bill Smith, Edith Jacobs, and we add to their names the names of those others, many hundreds who have died from this horrible COVID disease. And at this time, if there's a name of somebody in particular you would like to remember as we prepare to recite the Kaddish prayer, you may say their names either aloud or in your hearts. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be for a blessing. We rise to recite the Kaddish prayer on page 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, v'yalma divrach Yerutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon u'v'yomechon v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, v'agala u'v'yizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach l'olam olmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudesha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran bi'alma v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shmaya, V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, bring peace to our country, bring peace to all Israel and all the world, to which we say, Amen. You may be seated. We now continue with the Kiddush on page 123, which will be followed by a very special motzi by Eden Snyder, and followed by a very special challah, which Steve Wasserman made. It is a gluten-free challah, which he was able to braid, and it tastes delicious, I can tell you. So hopefully one of these days he will be sending around his very special gluten-free challah recipe, which I've been waiting for a long time. Thank you so much, Steve.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kadisho b'yahava uvratzon inchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila lemikra kodesh, zecher litziat Mitzrayim, ki banu v'acharta v'yotanu kidashta mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha v'yahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mikadesh HaShabbat. Amen.
Motzi lechem min haaretz, we give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together, as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech ha'olam, motzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Thank you, Judy Wasserman, for presenting the challah. So this week happens to be the second anniversary of the mass shooting at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh. And as you may remember, we filled our sanctuary, we filled our front hall, we filled our social hall 2 years ago, just a couple of weeks after that horrible incident, with clergy, civic friends, members of the community who came together to support us in that time of tremendous grief and mourning. And so with the ability to have these pre-recorded services, I'm going to share with you that service and the closing song we sang that evening, Let There Be Peace on Earth. Shabbat Shalom.